India's biggest friends in the Middle East have been touted by some to be Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, or Qatar. They are indeed friends to India. They pour in billions of dollars worth of investments to the country. Saudi Arabia, for instance, has even promised to invest over $100 billion into India. That itself already shows just how important India is to Saudi Arabia and vice versa. However, one country is arguably far more important to India than any other country in the Middle East. Israel, a very small country, plays a small role in investments in India. Yet this very country holds quite an interesting partnership with India. How? Well, you see, their partnership with India does not rely on just money. Sure, money is a big part of it, but what is equally important are their military ties, political support, most importantly, the friendship shared by Benjamin Netanyahu and Narendra Modi. These two leaders have a friendship that has enabled India and Israel to have a burgeoning friendship. But for today's topic, we will not thoroughly discuss the military or political ties that bind the two nations, but it is important to understand that these are driving forces that enable Indian businesses to expand and invest in Israeli startups, entrepreneurs, and industries. Now, as India's economy emerges as amongst the fastest growing in the entire world, their investments have driven Indian entrepreneurs to have billion-dollar companies. As per the 2022 record, India had over $3.3 trillion of gross domestic product, which makes it more than capable to acquire big businesses across the world. These businesses range from Reliance Industries to Infosys, the Tata Group, and so much more are big investors. And some of them are reaching the lands of Israel. Now, without further ado, let us start this conversation by discussing what Indian companies are buying in Israel. Is it land? Is it business? If so, how big are these businesses? Let's first start with a consideration. This consideration is important because it is amongst the largest ever announced, but it hasn't gone through, not yet, due to it being very recent. Around 2023, and as of the time of this writing, Reliance Industries has announced that it wanted to acquire an Israeli-listed company known as Tower Semiconductor. While there is no price tag announced yet, it is known previously that American-based Intel wanted to acquire the same company for $5.4 billion, but the deal eventually faded. Today, Reliance wants to grab the opportunity. But what makes this so significant? Well, beyond the eye-watering numbers, Tower Semiconductors is a vital piece in the entire global chip supply chain. The company specializes in manufacturing analog chips, critical components for mobile phones, medical equipment, and so on. Reliance Industry, on the other hand, still operates hugely in traditional businesses, and less of that in advanced manufacturing ones. This deal will then open up a new world for Reliance Industries and India, a world where they can access the chip competition immediately. Yes, in essence, this deal is important as it will finally enable India or Reliance to have its own billion-dollar chip company that can actually compete globally. And hear me out, Tower Semiconductor is not just any small business. It is a rapidly growing company. In 2009, it had revenues of $300 million, but by 2022, it went to over $1.68 billion. Further, the company boasts fabrication facilities in Israel and in the United States, meaning if Reliance is able to acquire Tower Semiconductor, they will not only have access to Israel prowess, but possibility to that of the US. Seems exciting, but at the same time, it is still a possibility that may die out. Now, secondly, after Reliance Industries, there is also a company known as Sun Pharma, an Indian multinational that acquired an Israeli company known as Taro Pharmaceuticals. This deal had a long history, which dates back to 2007, but eventually it became Sun Pharma's subsidiary. Today, Taro Pharmaceutical is a big business with over $1.3 billion worth of assets. Likewise, these will enable not only India to have a stronghold in the drug markets in Israel and wherever Taro is based on, but also technology advancement, pharmaceutical research. These are key concepts that can lend India's businesses to thrive in both domestic and international markets. Now, there are also acquisitions about ports. Adani Ports, led by a consortium to buy Haifa Port, also known as Israel's largest port. This acquisition totaled about $1.15 billion. Haifa Port, located up north of the country, handled over 56% of the country's cargo volume in 2021, which can immediately put this up as a key vital investment. Access to Israel's largest port, handling more than half of the country's cargo volume, is no small deal. This will open access to more investments pouring over from India to Israel. Knowing that they own the country's largest port, one of the country's largest pharmaceutical companies, and possibly the country's leading semiconductor company, what else is more out there? Now, if you've been keeping up, you can already see a trend. Indian companies are acquiring some of the largest companies in Israel, and these are not just the sole acquisitions out there. That should immediately set in stone just how important Israel has become to India and vice versa. Finally, Infosys is also a key player. The Indian tech giant acquired Israeli firm Panaya for about $200 million. Although a smaller deal compared to the others, Panaya is still a crucial acquisition as it brings newfound high-tech innovation to Infosys. Panaya specializes in software as a service change impact analysis and cloud-based testing with a focus on ERPs and CRMs. Well, that is a bit technical. However, to sum it up, this acquisition will enable Infosys to acquire a new industry to operate in. Now, let's move on and discuss other key facts. See, while acquisitions are important, there are also deals out there that are as vital. The next we will see are joint ventures and collaborations. One classic example of this comes from the Tata Group. They teamed up with Israel Aerospace Industries to form a joint venture, a venture that will work on defense products. The two countries would then start making tanks and radars together. What makes these important is because if we trace back to what we stated earlier, the two countries share a burgeoning military tie. These collaborations will not only ensure that these continue to rise, but ensure a positive result from a profit side of view, and possibly even help reshape the geopolitical arena of the Middle East. Companies are also not the sole collaborators in this scheme. The government of India and Israel have signed deals over the years. One of them, for instance, was when the two countries signed an industrial research and development cooperation. This would enable cooperation in key sectors such as healthcare, aerospace, and electronics. Many analysts pointed out that India has a lot to gain, as Israel has a profound skill in artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and semiconductors. Now, all of these past partnerships had a profound impact in other sectors. For instance, Israel's IT sector has seen a rise in Indian employees. From software development to cybersecurity, Indians are increasingly becoming an integral part of Israeli businesses. Overall, there are a lot of Indians in Israel working and living there. They approximate to about 18,000 Indians. While not a lot compared to bigger countries like the US, it is still good to know that Israel is anything but a tiny nation. The effect is likewise important as Israel's IT sector brings in remittances and strengthens India's global reputation for tech expertise. Okay, we've been putting this off for a bit now, but let's finally talk about the military aspect. India has been acquiring advanced defense technologies from Israel, like drones, radars, and missile defense systems. For example, India bought a Barak 8, a long-range surface-to-air missile, co-developed by India's DRDO and Israel Aerospace Industries. This isn't just a purchase, it's a collaboration that has implications for India's own technological capabilities. But the important thing to also understand today is why this happened. Of course, there are many reasons. We can cite the Indian and Israeli economy growing, or we can cite the attractiveness of Israel's tech sector. However, undoubtedly, one of the biggest causes is the partnership of Netanyahu and Modi. The two leaders have been strengthening their relationship with each other in recent years, despite even having a historical relationship that was far from close. And finally, before we end the video, let us discuss the final part of today's video, the impact on both countries. Yes, the impact is huge, even though it is a small number compared to others. Israel, for instance, is just a small country. These billion-dollar acquisitions are going to make a big difference in the long run. For India, on the other hand, it is likely that they will gain a lot not by economic means, but by technology. Israel is prominent in being an advanced nation. Acquisitions like these will enable Indian companies to compete stronger in the global markets. But anyway, thanks for watching.